Welcome to Let's Learn 2-Point Hospital. All right, hi, this is Attican and welcome back to 2-Point Hospital. We are still in Mitton, our Mitton University Hospital, and in our last episode we started Mitton and we made good progress toward our 1-star. We've unlocked research, and now we have, our goal is to train a doctor in research to complete chromotherapy research so that we open up that technology and cure a patient using chromotherapy. And so when we left off, we were just ready to expand out into our treatment, into a treatment building. Our first building is dedicated to general diagnostics. There we go. Easy for you to say. And one of the things I like to do is have my treatment out away at the farthest reaches of the hospital, because the treatment is the end point. When you have finished your diagnosis, you send someone off to treatment, they're done. And I've said this before in the other videos. But that means that you don't need to have your treatment right there in there where your diagnostics are. I mean, obviously it'd be more efficient to have it as close as possible. You go diagnosed with an illness, you send them to treatment, they walk out the door. However, what you really want is to save that space for more diagnosis. So the theory, and you'll see it right now, it's not a big deal because that room, our new building, is right next to their original, and it's a short walk over to that treatment, so it's almost as if it's in the same room. But as we expand and the hospital gets bigger and bigger, you'll see how that plays out. Anyway, what we're doing here is we're really taking our time with Mitton, and the reason is that it has this beautiful bonus that we get a grant. In other words, we receive money every time we complete training of our staff, every time we complete a research. So we get bonuses or money for doing that. So if you want to have good research, and then where else would you put it other than a place where you get paid to do so? You get bonuses for doing so. Now, here, unfortunately, we're not ready for the chromotherapy. We did not rush to get a research going. We're really taking the steps to make sure that we have a strong foundation for our hospital, and our hospital can process patients quickly and efficiently and make a lot of money, because you need that money to fund your research, to build adequate facilities, all that good stuff. So we're taking our time to go to research, but don't worry, we will get there very, very shortly. So what we're doing now is trying to train up. What we're going to do is take a tactic where we're going to train our employees up, and we'll bring in outside trainers whenever we need to go up a level that no one has attained in our hospital. And then when we get to that level, we'll start using our employees to train one another, which will save us a bunch of money. So anyway, we're basically just going through and trying to work our way up to the point where we can start training our research doctors. And we're just, as I said, opening up our treatment, our more advanced treatment now. And we've got our deluxe out there. So, or is that a PANS lab? I forget which one that's the deluxe. So we've got our deluxe out there, and we're going to upgrade it. And we're going to keep doing treatments with it. And we will keep adding the treatment rooms as the illnesses show up in diagnosis.
All bad things happen for a reason, while good ones come to those who wait. That's a lot of nice words, Megan.
Maintenance needed in Deluxe Clinic.
Still not quite punching in on the got to heat these rooms because we're in a cold climate. And we continue to get new illnesses discovered in this hospital, but we have the treatments already set up for those. A pharmacy, psychiatry ward, what have you. So we're in good shape there. So we just keep training, keep promoting, And here again, we have we've got another chromotherapy. We'd love to be ready for that, but made a conscious decision to hold off and grow the rest of the hospital first and do some of this training for our GPs to make them stronger before we worry about research.
Training course completed.
There we go. Now we've got 2 people now are GP2. So our diagnostics are just going to get better and better. And we want to double check and make sure we've got them set up to do GP work only. It would be, and now that we've got that, we're going to make our psychiatrist make sure he works only in psychiatry and be dedicated. So what happens with the rota, the way, at least the way I play it, is at first you kind of start with people just sort of rotate around where they're needed. And then as you get a certain critical mass, then you can start to maybe be more specific. Now here's an example of where we want to have another psychiatrist. So we're going to take the psychiatrist we already have, level 1, and train another doctor in level 1. And here's an example where we could have gone for research for training for research right there, but again, we need more psychiatrists. We need to have a really functional hospital before we start worrying about doing research.
Lost and found report. Glass eye. Brown. End of year approaching.
So you can see there we're getting a queue for psychiatry because we've got both our psychiatrists tied up in that training. We've got the one already trained, and we've got our new hire who's being trained. So as soon as they get out, of course, we'll have 2 psychiatrists, but they don't do you a lot of good if you don't have 2 psychiatry rooms. So we're going to fix that problem right here and see how much space we got to deal with. And we're going to put in a little office right here for more psychiatry. It's over in the treatment area. And remember, psychiatry is really both. It's treatment and diagnosis. Depending upon the patient, depending upon the circumstances, they can do both. So now once that training completes, we'll have, well, that actually it has completed now. It's just completed. So now we'll have 2 people working in psychiatry. And I've got that one, I don't know what I was thinking there. I made a mistake there. You probably noticed it a little earlier. I turned off that guy's GP. I don't know why. I think I was thinking he was the guy in training for psychiatry, which was silly of me. But anyway, got it fixed. So here we're going to look at the other side of the world, the treatment side, and see if we can improve that a little bit. Because we had a trainee a student doctor here who's available to be trained. Right now we're in pretty good shape in GP, we're in pretty good shape in psychiatry, but we know we're going to eventually need doctors and nurses out in treatment. So here's a chance to get a little bit ahead of that and train up some capabilities on the treatment side of the house. So now we're having so many training opportunities and have so many things that we need. It's time to get more training. I probably would have just now. Yeah, I take that back. Started to say should have done this a little earlier, but no, this is about right because we needed to get. You got to have some money before you can do this. So now we're going to turn to our research, and we've got some student doctors here. So we're going to start with one person and train them in research. So we're going to bring in an outside consultant to help us with this and get a doctor trained in research.
I get paid to announce, not to hear you complain.
And you can see there we're still... Actually, I think I clicked that by mistake. I asked that chromotherapy to wait, and that was a mistake. Because it's not, you know, we've still got to get our research training done, and then we've got to get the research itself done. So I found that patient and told the patient to go home rather than have them wait. Because if they wait and wait and wait, they're just going to get angrier and angrier. And they're just going to leave angry and lower our reputation. Let's send them home and say, sorry, we can't help you right now.
They said he was too old. They said he looked ridiculous. But when the world needs a hero must put on his spandex. This summer, Roderick Cushion returns as Perilous Spandex in Perilous Spandex 5, A Stretch Too Far. This is 2 Point Radio.
All right, so we've got a patient coming in with chest infection or chest infection. Is that right? Anyway, he thinks he's a clown. So we do have that capability to treat clowns. So now we're just kind of figuring out where's the best way to organize this building. And the way I'm envisioning this particular building is want to have staff room and a toilet in the middle of the building, and then kind of work around it. So I'm just looking at how the sizes fit to see where to put in this clown clinic. And what we're going to do is have a narrow hallway here and just put it in as a 4x4. Yeah, 4x4, which is its minimum size down here, and then put the doorway. I think that, yeah, okay, I thought so. Yeah, into that hallway, so we can build out on top of that. So now we'll put our dehumidifier in there and put it so that our patient can just walk right in and hop right in. Remember, every time you put a machine in a room, you want to put an extinguisher in that room. A fire extinguisher. And there we go. Now we can treat clowns. Now that we've done some training and treatment, we want to make
Maintenance
sure
announcement. Automated snack machines need restocking manually.
that our doctors and nurses who are trained for treatment are going to work in treatment. So we set that rota for that nurse so that she would only do the treatments and not work in the diagnostics. And now we can put in our initial research facility, or built room, our initial room. I'm saying initial because, well, you can imagine what's going to happen. Okay, so here we go. Here's a good spot for it. Got a nice 4x4 area. And research, you need a research pod, it's called, and then you get bonuses for every 1% bonus on your research for every research desk you put in there. So we're just going to start out simple. We've got one doctor being trained, so we're going to put that one doctor into research. There we go. And we can fire up research and start looking into chromotherapy. So now it's time to think about how we're going to make this building more usable, more attractive, and more convenient, so that so that our researcher doesn't wander off, have to go to the other end of the hospital to use the toilet or to take a break. Same thing with any of the people here that are going to be in their treatment folks. We want them to stay near their work. We want them to take toilet breaks and regular breaks near their work. So we're going to put a 2x4 toilet in the middle here, and then we'll stick a staff room in there right next to it, to the left there, and catch up on the heating as usual. And here comes our staff room. They're nice. You can make those nice and small. We're going to do a 3x2 staff room. And these rooms without queues are good candidates to put down these small hallways. Like that research, having a single wide hallway going down to it's no problem, because it's researchers going in and out. It's not like there's going to be patients queued up, gumming up that hallway. And our staff, same thing. They're going to go to the break room. They're not going to be queuing up outside it. So we can put some refreshments here in the middle and some bins, and that should be pretty good coverage for food and drink for the area. It'll be close to the staff room. They can get their food and drinks. Patients and other doctors and nurses working in this area can get their food and drinks. So now we've got a situation where both of our buildings can service the needs of the patients and staff And we can keep, most importantly, we can keep our staff for treatment over in the treatment area. And they won't wander off to the rest of the hospital and start adding to our walking time. Well, all this time I'm looking here at the training, I think I was having a mild brain cramp. I finally get my act together and realized what I wanted to do was look at who can be trained, and then pick the person I think I really want to train. And that person's a GP. Now I can bring someone, I can get trainer in to level up the GP from level 1 to level 2. And I tend to, if I'm going to be prejudiced on my training, it's going to be prejudiced toward GP and diagnostics, because that's where your holdups can occur. So the faster you can, the better diagnostics, the better GPs you have, the
You're
better
listening
your
to Harrison Wolf, the lone voice of reason, ready to spread some truth to all our vigilant listeners. So open your eyes and your ears and get ready to find out what's really going on. But first, here are some people playing musical instruments.
So now we're going to start ramping up our research capabilities by hiring another doctor for research. And I had the choice there between using the doctor we just trained or an outsider, and to keep the funds down, I used our research doctor that we just trained. Now that stops our research momentarily, but when that training is finished, we're going to double our number of researchers. So we're going to set up that lab so it'll hold the max amount. It'll hold up to 5 researchers at one time. And since we have the money now and we have another researcher coming in, we're going to go ahead and throw in another researcher's desk, or research desk. It actually, they're not required, I do not believe, I'm fairly certain of this, I haven't researched it, pun intended, but you don't have to have one of those desks for each person you have researching in there. They just kind of go back and forth between the various tasks. They go between the desk, and a couple of them will work at the pod at one time, but they give you an extra bonus on your research, so why not have one? Have them if you can fit them in there.
Oh. 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 Oh.
Now we're going to really ramp up our research by hiring 3 more doctors, student doctors, and training them in research. So we're going to take those 3 we just hired and set up a class and we're going to use one of our doctors that has just come out of that research class to teach these three, and that'll allow the one remaining doctor we already had trained to go back and actually get the research going. So now we'll have one person in the lab actually doing research, and we'll have one person teaching and three other people learning research in the training room. So that should really get, and once they finish that, then we're going to start seeing some research points coming out. So I didn't quite finish off what I should have done there, which is set all those people in training to go straight for research. But now we're going to bump up our GP a little bit. We've got a couple of student doctors that haven't been trained that we've had to hire as we've gone along. So we're going to take one of our already trained GPs and train a couple more GPs to increase our capacity there and make sure we have coverage for breaks and what have you. So now we're getting there. We've got a doctor trained in research. We're well on our way to getting our chromotherapy research done. And now we're making inroads into having a really strong research capability by having 5 doctors trained. And now what we're doing is actually thinking about going through and doing some upgrades. And so we're going to unlock a television. I like the television is a pretty good thing to put in a break room. So we're going to upgrade our staff room and level it up so that we can increase the satisfaction of our doctors. And if you're looking for quick hits to increase your satisfaction of your staff, I said doctors, I really should have said staff. If you're looking to increase the satisfaction of your staff, the staff room is really the place to start, because that's the one place they all end up going at some point. So if your staff rooms are all high level, then that's during that entire break or most of their break time, they're going to be reaping the benefits of that really good room. So we're going to put in suites, we're going to put in water fountains, so they're going to be able to have food and drink. They're going to be able to relax and get rid of any boredom they might have, and be comfortable and refreshed and ready to go back to work. In the same vein, we're going to update this staff room as well, so that the people who work over in the treatment area and in research will have a nice staff room that they can go to, and will not be taking long treks over to the rest of the hospital in order to go to the toilet or to take a break. That way they can stay near their work and be efficient in moving back and forth and getting back to their assigned duties. Now I'm working through the rota here to make sure that those doctors that we're training to be researchers won't go to work elsewhere. I want them to.
I've started exploring past lives. I've tried hypnotizing myself with pendulums and pocket watches, but I find listening to my own voice works best. I say one thing and then another thing, and I say one thing and then another thing. It's possible you're now hypnotized too.
Probably could have had that particular patient wait for the chromotherapy. That research is actually well on the way, even though we've got just the one doctor working on it at this moment. But it's just about there. There it is. So we definitely could have had that one patient wait. But we're ready for them now. And now we're going to start taking a real tactic to develop this hospital into our little powerhouse. We're going to research. And there's two researches you can research. One is just researching general research. You make some money for that. There are certain cases where you might want to do that if you've got a hospital that's running a tight budget. But in our case, we're doing research of the training of research. So in other words, we're researching the next level of research so that we can then take these same doctors and then train them up to a higher level of research so that we get even more research points faster, so that our research is even more efficient and more effective. So we're going to, other than times when we need to do something else, we're going to consistently try to attack researching, that training of research, and then getting in this loop where we take our doctors and train them up so that we keep moving them up into more and more effective researchers.
Nurse to general
So
diagnosis.
now we've got a new patient for our chromotherapy, so we can build that room and start healing chromotherapy patients. So we've got 6 across there, and we need 3 by 3 for the room. And since if we cut it off at 3, we're just going to be making a hallway that won't be used for anything, we'll go ahead and make it a 4 by 3 room. Again, following our principle of having the patient walk straight in and go straight to where they need to be, then setting up our staff wherever, and then the other principle is setting up the goodies for the staff, like a chair and fountain and snacks very close to where that doctor or nurse will need to be working, so that they can move efficiently and be they'll kind of hang out in that top part of the room as we're looking at it. A patient will come in, they'll be up there, and they'll be able to walk right over to their console and get started on the treatment. And we'll put in our fire extinguisher, the heater, and just the basic things that we need to make that the staff person happy. And then we'll bump up take the Gold Star Awards and go ahead and use those to bump up the rating to level 5. And we're going to start taking that tactic from now on when we build buildings. We'll typically go ahead and build them out as level 5. We've got money now. When you first start, you don't have the money to spend on those things. We got plenty of money now, so we are going to start getting these people, and we hire a nurse to work in there, and then we'll of course try to get our treatment training going to improve our treatment as we go along, so that our success rate is higher and higher. And we're looking good. So we've got our research going, we've got training, we're researching, training research, and we are training researchers on higher levels of research. So we're really, we've got the basics now of creating a really good research hospital. So as far as getting our 1 star, all we need to do now is heal someone. If we can cure one person in chromotherapy, then we're good to go. And there we go. We've got our 1 star. We opened up the encyclopedia bookcase, which is useful, but there's another one coming that's better. And a little upgrade to our Deluxe. But the big thing is we got our 1 star for Mitton, and we've got the real good foundation of a really strong research hospital set up here. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next 2-Point Hospital video. Thank you.